able to be dealt with.
Late today, we asked Kenya's President William Ruto about the 1,000 police officers heading to Haiti.
A group of missionaries, including Americans, were killed in Haiti last night by gangs. Can the Kenyan forces stop that kind of violence?
Hi viewers, it's your African presenter Mercy and welcome to my YouTube channel. So there's this video where William Samoei Ruto, who is currently the Kenyan president, was put into question for the purpose behind him deciding to send over 1,000 Kenyan soldiers to Haiti. Haiti is a Caribbean country found overseas, and despite of it being a small country, it's globally known for the calamities it has been facing both internally and externally. And Haiti is a very sad state. The netizens in Haiti are calling upon many different countries to come to their aid. So let's prioritize the video, come back and share our perspectives.
Let's talk about another hot potato, Haiti. Yes, here we are. You are leading the mission to send, over 1,000 police officers to Haiti to try and stabilize that country, the gang violence, the kidnappings, and so on. But the history of Haiti and U.S. involvement is not irrelevant there. There's a history of failed international peacekeeping missions led by the U.S. and the United Nations. Haitians themselves are very anxious and not trusting of such missions. The U.S. is contributing more than $300 million, and those opposed to this see this as an extension of the troublesome U.S. hand in Haitian affairs, and that Kenya is somehow being used as a proxy to further the interests of the U.S. there. What is the basis for your confidence given the history?
This is not the first mission Kenya is engaged in. We have been in 47 other missions around the world, including in very difficult places like Kosovo. We have built experience, we have built understanding, and I am very confident that Kenya has what it takes to be able to handle the situation in Haiti. Number two, we also believe that the responsibility rests with countries like Kenya and others that believe in democracy, in freedom, in the rule of law, and in peace. And we believe that the same way we need peace and security in Kenya, and in all the other places, we have supported peace and security. So does the people in Haiti. And the reason why Kenya has been called upon to participate and to take lead in Haiti is because it's difficult. That's the reason. If it wasn't difficult, maybe other countries would have been asked to do it.
Is Kenya the right country to do it, given that your own police force have been accused of extrajudicial killings at home, police brutality? Human rights groups are criticizing the human rights records of police in Kenya. 136 extrajudicial killings in the past year. They're not up to the task.
Our history in peacekeeping, our history in peacemaking is up to scrutiny. Anybody can judge what Kenyans have done, both within and without. When I came into office, I made a commitment that there will never be any extrajudicial killings in Kenya. And that is the case.
But you supported the police when they cracked down on protesters.
And I intend to keep it that way.
Did you not support the police?
Any police, men or women, who use extra constitutional means that are not provided for, we have an independent police oversight authority that have taken policemen to court. Our record is straight, and I have enhanced the capabilities of our policemen, the judicial system. We have worked with the Chief Justice. In fact, I just swore in 20 extra judges. In fact, in my 1.5 years in office, I have recruited 46 additional judges to make sure that the criminal justice system is up to the mark, to make sure that everybody, including the police, operate within the parameters of the law. Everybody must be accountable, starting with the president. must be accountable. We must live within the parameters of the law. That is why even this deployment was taken to court by Kenyans. But let me tell you, the cabinet has approved. Both houses of parliament, people's representatives, have approved. The police service commission, they are on board. The court have made representation. In fact, when people went to court, the court said the deployment must happen, but it must happen in a certain way. And we delayed the deployment until we complied with the law, with the court orders. So we are a country that believes in the rule of law, and it is what underpins even the relationship that we have with the United States of America. And let me give you one more point. Just 3 weeks ago, I operationalized the Public Benefits Organizations Act that will give civil society organizations more latitude in making sure that they hold government to account. And they point out when citizens' rights are being violated. It is because we are a country that believes in the rule of law. It is the reason that we are doing what we are doing, because it is the right thing. So I am very confident that our deployment in Haiti does not only meet the requirements of the law, that I can confirm, let me put it that way, that our police are professional enough to be able to discharge their responsibilities. They've done it in 47 different countries around the world. They will do it in Haiti.
So before we proceed with the video, it's best to clarify that President Ruto is the only African president who volunteered to send the Kenyan troops to Haiti, of which most of the African leaders do not agree with. You know, President Ruto is a well-known Kenyan president who has been making headlines and sometimes ending up as a laughingstock in Africa. And since he came into office, he has been neglecting his duties because most of the time he's seen traveling in the States. And it's like he's trying to strengthen the bond with the European nations, the same people who are exploiting and using the African resources for their own personal interest. And let me tell you, it's more surprising that Kenya is also facing internal clashes. Many people are being rendered homeless due to lack of security, especially in the northern regions where bandits walk out freely after committing very serious felonies. And ironically, President Ruto goes to an extent of sending our own Kenyan troops to go and maintain stability to the other part of the world. He is seated talking about how he leads under the parameters of the law, confidently talking about deployment, whereas there's been the cases involving violence arise day after day within the country. And the other thing is, the journalist just clarified that there's been an history of failed international peacemaking missions led by the US, the UN, some of the superpowers worldwide. The Asians themselves are anxious and not trusting about such missions. They don't want to be involved because they know the outcome. So here is a very quick question. If President Ruto cannot guarantee the safety of his own people, how are we convinced that the Kenyan troops sent to Haiti are going to stabilize the situation that is ongoing? Because this seems more of a death wish, but only time will tell. So let's dive back to the video.
These are our interests.
Your trip comes at a very turbulent time in the world, and the United States is central to this turbulence that is playing out in the Middle East. There's growing public outrage over what is happening in Gaza, in Rafah. The International Court of Justice ordered an immediate ceasefire and a withdrawal from Rafah by Israel. A couple of days ago, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Hamas and, of course, some leadership of Israel, including the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. When you first came into office, one of your first stops, if not your first stop, was to Israel in May 2023. You described your relationship with Israel as being fruitful, as being strong, as being friendly. But in light of these developments, have you changed your mind? Are they still a friend?
Israel is a great friend of Kenya. And we believe that that should go into the future. We made a very clear statement when Israel was attacked that it was wrong. We have also made a very clear statement when there were excesses in the use of force, when children were attacked, when there were atrocities, committed against the people of Palestine. We made a very strong statement that was also wrong, because two wrongs cannot amount to a right. And we are firm in our belief of two things: that the situation in Middle East, the situation in Gaza cannot be solved using military means. That's number one. And number two, we also are of the firm belief that a two-nation solution is the way to go. We believe in self-determination. We believe in the existence of Israel as a nation and as a friend, but we also believe in the existence of Palestine as a state. And that is our position. And we will not walk away from that. That has been Kenya's position. That continues to be Kenya's position.
At the United Nations, it's true that you voted 3 times for a ceasefire. The United States blocked that move, so there's a misalignment between you and the United States on that. You also voted recently for the recognition of the Palestinian state. You've spent a lot of time with President Biden. It's all very well to say we believe in the two-state solution, but when you are sitting with him, are you pushing strongly for an end to this calamity in the Middle East, since the United States is seen as being central? It can stop this calamity with the sale of arms. It is perpetuating this calamity. Did you say anything about that?
The position of Kenya is known. It is not for me to decide.
You are sitting with him in the room.
It is not for me to decide the position of the United States of America.
Can we not tell your friends not to support a genocide?
And our position has been very clear when it comes to a two-state solution. It is not a position that we acquired yesterday. It is a position that has been and continues to be Kenya's position, irrespective of the positions of other countries, because we prosecute our own agenda, we speak for ourselves, we think for ourselves, and we drive our own
Mr. President, you are in the capital of the world, in the most powerful capital in the world. You've got international aid organizations pleading and crying for help. We are seeing mass graves, children being starved and emaciated. You are here right now at this pivotal, significant political moment. Surely it's not enough to say we as Kenya call for a two-state solution when you are sitting with the man whose country is selling arms to Israel. Why not leverage your proximity and your advantage to appeal for reason?
Let me tell you, my sister, Kenya has done its bit. We have taken the firmest position when our alliance, when our interests converge with the United States, we stand together. When they don't, we stand separately. But that does not mean we become enemies. That does not mean it affects our friendship. It's just because it is what it is.
Well, you clearly are the United States' favorite partner then, because it has threatened anyone who stands against it. Even Congress here introducing bills to punish countries, to punish the International Criminal Court. But for some reason, you are escaping that kind of censor. Does that indicate that you are not pushing hard, because you are allies with Israel and you are nursing these relationships even in the face of such catastrophe?
That's your opinion, and it doesn't necessarily reflect what Kenya stands for. As I have told you, we are very firm in our belief on a resolution of the conflict in Gaza, not by military means. We do not support what is going on in terms of women, children, mass graves. And we have made our position very clear. And secondly, there are countries who don't believe in a two-state solution for the Middle East. We do. And we are unapologetic about it because we believe that is the right position.
Right.
Israel must exist as a state, and they are our friend, but Palestine too must exist as a state.
The journalist is an African, and she seems more concerned about the African affairs through the meaningful questions pointed out. And if you are keen enough, you will notice that the president is using the same script. It's like he's hovering on facts that seem so meaningless and can't seem to answer the question at hand. And we can all recall the scramble and partition of Africa, the time where our forefathers were trusted the wrong people, or rather the European nations. Some of them were even allured with gifts, and at the end, they were held into captivity, they were sold into slavery, and were treated like animals. And African leaders are our public image. And the way President Ruto presents himself makes Africa look so desperate. And the whites may think that we need more of their attention because he spends most of the time with President Biden rather than solving the Kenyan affairs. He claims to be accountable, yet is seen traveling with a private jet. And when the matters of the private jet are put into question, he ends up saying that it was funded by a friend. If he was a vice president, as he claims, he would have stood up and said, "My country need more. My people like this and that. Why don't you use this money to do this and that?" Because traveling with a normal airplane won't cause any harm. Many individuals are starving to death due to food shortage. Our economy is the worst. We are being overtaxed and poor infrastructure. There is nothing that President Ruto has done that us as Kenyans we can sit down and say he is the best. And he's talking about taking sides. People that he sides with are chasing the blacks away from their country and are still discriminated till date. And come to think of it, how is how is sending troops to Haiti and the several trips that he has been taking beneficial to Kenyans? It is evident that President Ruto seemed so happy when the journalist called him Biden's favorite president. Well, President Ruto may appear as Biden's favorite president or maybe the best president in the public, but here in the country he is Kenyan's worst nightmare. China is our largest trading partner. And instead of strengthening that bond, keeping in mind that we are indebted to them, he ends up is always beside President Biden in the US. What if one day the Chinese decide to stop its operations, the operations that appear more useful in the country? It will indeed end up as a doomsday for us, and we as the citizens are the ones who are going to pay the price. Most of our democratic presidents are manipulated by the so-called the Western government. Every leader in Africa knows the history of colonization and slavery. Uh, or rather, every leader in Africa knows the history of slavery and colonization. So why would an African leader still work in the best interest of a colonizer, keeping in mind of the African background? So before I wind up, please make sure to subscribe to this channel, like and share this to as many people as you can in order to make African great. President Ruto is out to sell Africa and not only Kenya. And many African leaders need to stand firm and put an end to this drama because we don't want history to repeat itself. And remember, a small hole can sink a great ship. So your time is indeed appreciated, and let's meet in the comment section. Keep in touch.